The call from the stars. The transmission crackled through Earth's deep space monitoring station, breaking the usual monotonous hum of equipment. Lieutenant Commander Sophia Rice jolted awake at her station, the unexpected alert cutting through the night shift's silence. The clock read 3:27 hours Earth Standard Time. "This is Earth Deep Space Monitoring Station. Identify yourself," Rice said, her fingers dancing across the console to boost the weak signal. Static hissed before a melodic voice emerged, speaking in a language that flowed like water over stones. The station's translation software immediately began processing the alien tongue. Earth. Help. Araxian Alliance. Under attack. Conventional weapons useless. Need Deathworlders. Reyes's heart raced. The Araxian Alliance, an advanced federation of species that had first contacted Earth just 15 years earlier. They possessed technology centuries beyond humanity's reach, yet now they were begging for help. "This is Lieutenant Commander Reyes. Please clarify your situation. What kind of attack?" "More static, then. They feed on energy. Our weapons make them stronger. Need physical force. Need humans. Coordinates attached. Please hurry." The transmission cut off abruptly, but not before a data packet arrived containing stellar coordinates and fragmented tactical information. Rise immediately contacted the Terran Defense Force headquarters. Within 3 hours, Captain Maya Chen stood in the Crisis Command Center of the TDF headquarters, surrounded by Earth's military leadership. The playback of the distress call echoed through the room. "The Araxians have the most advanced energy-based technology in known space," Admiral Okoro said, his face grim in the blue light of the tactical displays. "If something is immune to their weapons, and specifically asking for humans," Captain Chen added, "for our Deathworlder qualities." It wasn't a term humans had chosen for themselves. When Earth joined the galactic community, other species had been horrified by the planet that had forged humanity. High gravity, extreme temperature variations, deadly radiation levels, and countless predatory species. While most spacefaring civilizations evolved on gentle worlds with stable environments, humans had clawed their way to sentience on what aliens classified as a death world. "The Araxians helped us when we needed medical technology to cure the Hansen pandemic," General Rivera reminded everyone. "They shared atmospheric scrubbing techniques that saved our climate. We owe them." Admiral Okoro nodded slowly. "There's another consideration. If these attackers can defeat Araxian technology, Earth could be next." Captain Chen studied the limited tactical data from the transmission. They specifically mentioned needing physical force. While most galactic species abandoned projectile weapons and physical combat millennia ago, those are still Earth's specialties. "Primitive, they called us," Lieutenant Colonel Park said with a hint of bitterness. "And now our primitiveness might be exactly what's needed," Chen replied. The decision was unanimous. Earth would answer the call. Within 36 hours, the Terran response fleet was assembled. 5 warships, led by the flagship TRS Invictus under Captain Chen's command, prepared to depart Earth orbit. Unlike the sleek energy drive vessels of most galactic species, Earth's ships were bulky, armored behemoths equipped with both advanced technology and primitive backup systems. On the bridge of the Invictus, Captain Maya Chen watched her homeworld shrink on the view screen. At 42, she had spent half her life in space, rising through the ranks of Earth's young interstellar fleet. Her weathered face and the scars on her arms told stories of battles fought both on Earth and beyond. "Captain, final message from command," announced Communications Officer Darwish. Admiral Okoro's face appeared on screen. "Captain Chen, you carry humanity's banner into unknown danger. The Araxians call for Deathworlders. Show them what that really means." Chen nodded. "We won't let them down, sir." As the fleet engaged their FTL drives, blue light enveloped the ships. In a flash, they vanished into the depths of space, racing toward coordinates 17 light-years distant. The journey would take 8 days at maximum safe speed. 8 days to prepare for whatever awaited them. In the ship's tactical center, Chen met with her senior staff. Dr. Amina Okafor, the fleet's xenobiologist, had been analyzing the limited data on the attackers. Based on the fragmented scans, we're dealing with something truly alien, Okafor explained, bringing up a hazy image of a dark, elongated form. They appear to absorb energy rather than reflect it, like living black holes. That would explain why energy weapons are useless, said Lieutenant Commander Jackson, tactical officer. What about our kinetic weapons? The Araxians specifically requested physical force, Chen replied. Projectile weapons, hand-to-hand combat, things most advanced species abandoned centuries ago. Because we evolved throwing rocks and punching things, said Chief Engineer Kowalski with a grim smile, while they evolved past needing to. Chen nodded. Precisely why they called Earth. Let's prepare accordingly. I want all personnel to train with physical weapons. And Kowalski, work with your team to shield our energy systems. If these things feed on power, we need to protect our ships. Already on it, Captain. We're modifying our hull to include specialized insulation layers. During the 8-day journey, the crew trained relentlessly. While their galactic neighbors viewed physical combat as barbaric, humans had never abandoned these skills. The ship's armory was stocked with an array of primitive weapons, ballistic firearms, bladed weapons, and explosive devices. On the final day of their journey, Chen received a new transmission from Araxian space, even weaker than the first. Last stronghold, Araxis Prime, Northern Continent, underground bunkers. Hurry. The message ended with a burst of static. Chen ordered maximum speed, pushing the fleet's engines beyond safe limits. When the Terran response fleet dropped out of FTL at the edge of the Araxian system, silence fell across the Invictus Bridge. Where there should have been a thriving civilization with orbital platforms and ships, there was only devastation. Parts of Araxis Prime, the Alliance's homeworld, glowed with fires visible from space. Debris fields orbited the planet like macabre rings. Life signs? Chen asked, her voice tight. Detecting approximately 8,000 Araxian life signatures in underground structures on the northern continent, reported Lieutenant Rodriguez from the sensor station, and multiple unknown energy signatures moving toward their position. Any sign of Araxian vessels? One damaged cruiser hiding in the planet's rings, Captain. Barely functioning. Chen made her decision. Send rescue shuttles to that cruiser. We need information. Jackson, prepare ground teams for immediate deployment to protect those survivors. Full combat gear. Within an hour, the first rescue team returned with a dozen Araxian survivors. Among them was High Commander Zivax, leader of the Araxian Defense Force. Despite severe injuries, the tall crystalline being stood before Captain Chen in the ship's conference room. We feared you would not come, Zadak said, his voice like wind chimes. The Galactic Council voted against intervention. They fear these creatures too much. Tell us what we're facing, Chen said. They call themselves the Void Harvesters. They come from the dark spaces between stars, evolved in conditions no light-based life should survive. They consume energy directly, from our ships, our weapons, even our bodies. Many of my people died from having their bioelectricity drained. How do they look? Asked Dr. Okafor. Like living shadows, tall, fluid forms. No solid mass we could detect. Our energy weapons made them stronger. Our shields failed when they touched them. And physical attacks? Asked Jackson. Zivax's crystalline form shimmered. An Araxian expression of regret. We had few to attempt. Araxians evolved on a gentle world. Our bodies are fragile, our muscles weak compared to yours. We abandoned physical weapons millennia ago. But you remembered that humans hadn't, said Chen. Yes. Our archives contain studies of Earth, a death world that produced beings with dense muscles, durable skeletons, and remarkable physical resilience. Beings who still practiced the art of physical combat. A communication alert sounded. Captain, came Rodriguez's voice. We're detecting multiple unknown vessels approaching from the system's outer belt. Configuration matches the fragmented scans we received. Battle stations, ordered Chen. Deploy ground teams to protect the Araxian bunker. As the human fleet moved to intercept the approaching threat, shuttles launched toward the planet's surface, each carrying 20 soldiers in environmental combat suits. These were humans trained for the harshest conditions Earth offered. Extreme temperatures, toxic atmospheres, high-pressure environments. The Void Harvesters detected the approaching shuttles and altered course to intercept. Dark, amorphous vessels that seemed to drink in the light around them fired strange weapons that emitted no visible energy but caused temperatures to plummet wherever they struck. "They're trying to freeze us," reported Shuttle Commander Ortiz, temperature dropping rapidly. Inside their suits, the human soldiers felt the cold seeping in, but remained functional. They had trained in Antarctica and the Siberian wastes. This was uncomfortable, but not deadly. As the shuttles approached the surface near the Araxian bunker, the soldiers got their first look at the enemy. Moving with inhuman grace, the Void Harvesters resembled 7-foot-tall shadows that flowed rather than walked, with elongated limbs that ended in points. And then the first battle between humans and Void Harvesters began. The creatures fired energy-draining beams that would have instantly killed most galactic species. The humans staggered but kept moving forward. Their projectile weapons tore through the shadowy forms of the Harvesters, causing them to recoil and retreat. From the Invictus, Captain Chen watched the battle unfold through helmet cameras. For the first time since the crisis began, she felt a surge of hope. The Deathworlders had arrived, and they had come to fight. Fury of the Deathworlders. On the northern continent of Araxis Prime, Sergeant Liam Reeves ducked behind a fallen pillar as an energy-draining beam passed overhead. The air crackled with extreme cold, frost forming instantly on exposed surfaces. Around him, his squad of 12 soldiers had formed a defensive perimeter around one of the bunker entrances, where Araxian civilians sheltered. "Hold positions," Reeves shouted over the comm. "Remember your training. Physical rounds only." The Void Harvesters flowed like liquid darkness between the ruins of what had once been a magnificent crystal city. Their dark forms absorbed all light, creating moving shadows that were difficult to track. When they attacked, they extended whip-like appendages that drained energy on contact. Private Diaz fired her modified rifle, launching specially designed flechette rounds that shredded through a harvester's amorphous body. The creature emitted a high-pitched wail that hurt human ears even through their helmets. "They don't like being poked with sharp objects," Diaz said with grim satisfaction. "Keep hitting them," Reeves ordered. "Focus fire on one at a time." Across the battlefield, similar scenes played out as human soldiers engaged the Void Harvesters in direct combat. In the 3 hours since landing, the ground teams had confirmed what the Araxians suspected. Physical force was devastatingly effective against these enemies. Aboard the Invictus, Captain Chen received continuous updates from the surface while engaging the Harvester vessels in orbit. The battle in space proved more challenging. The alien ships absorbed energy weapons, and conventional explosives had limited effect on their fluid structure. "They're adapting," reported Tactical Officer Jackson. "Learning our patterns." Chen nodded grimly. "Then we change the patterns." "Kowalski, status on the modified torpedoes." Chief Engineer Kowalski's voice came through the comm. "Ready to deploy, Captain. We've replaced the standard antimatter warheads with compressed kinetic payloads, essentially giant bullets. Launch when ready." The modified torpedoes streaked toward the nearest harvester vessel. Upon impact, they delivered massive kinetic force without the energy discharge of conventional weapons. The harvester ship's fluid structure rippled violently, parts of it shearing away into space. "Direct hit," shouted Jackson. "They can't absorb kinetic energy." "All ships switch to kinetic weapons," Chen ordered, "and prepare boarding teams." On the planet's surface, Dr. Amina Okafor had joined the ground forces with a team of science officers. They set up equipment in a secure area behind the human defensive line, studying captured fragments of void harvesters. These readings are fascinating, Okafor told Captain Chen via comlink. They're not entirely non-physical as the Araxians believed. They have mass, just differently organized than matter as we understand it. And they have a critical weakness. Which is? Chen asked. They evolved in deep space, cold and darkness. Our body heat actually causes them pain at close range, and certain light frequencies disrupt their molecular cohesion. Can we weaponize that? Already working on it. We're modifying our suit emitters to project harmful spectrums. And Captain, there's something else. I've detected complex communication patterns. These aren't mindless energy feeders. They're intelligent. Chen considered this new information. Could we communicate with them? Find out why they're attacking? Possibly. Their communication uses rapid modulation of dark energy fields, nothing like our speech. But given time we may not have, Chen replied as fresh alerts sounded across the bridge. More harvester ships entering the system. We're about to be outnumbered. The battle intensified both in space and on the ground. The human fleet adopted new tactics, using their ships as physical battering rams against the harvester vessels when weapons weren't effective. The resilient construction of Earth vessels, built to withstand the harsh conditions of deep space, proved an advantage. While most galactic ships relied on energy shields, human vessels still used physical armor as a backup. On the ground, the soldiers received their modified equipment. Combat suits now emitted specific light frequencies that caused the harvesters visible distress. Hand-to-hand combat, considered barbaric by most galactic standards, proved surprisingly effective. The dense muscle mass and heat of human bodies disrupted the harvesters' energy-based forms. High Commander Zivax watched from the Invictus observation deck as humans engaged in brutal physical combat with the harvesters. Now I understand, he said softly to Captain Chen, who had joined him briefly. This is why you survived Earth. We evolved fighting. Chen replied simply. Against predators, against the elements, against each other. We never had the luxury of abandoning physical strength. The Galactic Council calls such methods primitive. Primitive works, Chen said, pointing to the tactical display where human forces were pushing the harvesters back step by step. A breakthrough came 12 hours into the battle when Dr. Okafor's team managed to establish rudimentary communication with a captured harvester. The creature's voice, translated through specialized equipment, was alien and disconcerting. Hunger, need, energy, survive. Came the translated words. Why attack the Araxians? Okafor asked. Bright, too bright. Hurting us, driving us from home. Over the next hour, a shocking truth emerged. The harvesters hadn't initiated the conflict. 3 months earlier, the Araxian Alliance had begun testing a new stellar engineering project in a previously unexplored region of space, a region that, unknown to them, housed the harvesters' homeworld of dark energy clouds. The project had flooded their system with light and radiation, destroying much of their habitat and forcing them to flee. The attack on Araxian worlds was retaliation and desperate hunger after losing their natural feeding grounds. When presented with this information, Zivax's crystalline form dulled with shame. We had no idea there was sentient life there. Our sensors couldn't detect them. Because you were looking for life as you understand it, Chen said without accusation. This changes our approach. While the battle continued, diplomatic channels opened. Through Okafor's translation equipment, Captain Chen spoke directly with the harvester leader, a larger, more complex shadow form that commanded their forces. We understand now why you attacked, Chen said. But continuing this war will destroy both your people and the Araxians. Need, home, energy, survive, came the response. We can help find a solution, Chen offered. Earth scientists can modify the Araxian technology to create safe feeding zones for your people, areas of controlled energy that won't harm you. The negotiation was complicated, with concepts that didn't translate easily between such fundamentally different species. But after hours of discussion, the first tentative agreement formed. The harvesters would cease their attack. The Araxians would provide controlled energy resources, and humans would oversee the technology transfer to ensure both sides honored the agreement. As the harvester vessels began withdrawing from Araxian space, Captain Chen stood on the bridge of the Invictus, watching the tactical display shift from combat configurations to diplomatic channels. "I never expected to end this with peace talks," Jackson admitted. "Sometimes understanding your enemy changes everything," Chen replied. "As Deathworlders, we learned that lesson the hard way through our own history." The aftermath transformed the galactic community's perception of humanity. Where once they had been viewed with suspicion for their primitive ways and physical resilience, now they were recognized as valuable allies who bridged the gap between different forms of life. 3 months after the crisis, a formal treaty was signed aboard the Invictus. The Araxian Alliance and the Void Harvesters established diplomatic relations, with Earth serving as mediator. The Harvesters received dedicated regions of space where controlled energy emissions would feed their population. The Araxians gained protection from future misunderstandings through more comprehensive scanning technology. And humanity. They gained a new respect throughout the galaxy. The term Deathworlder, once whispered with fear, now carried tones of admiration. Earth's primitive ways, their physical strength, their adaptability, their willingness to engage directly with problems rather than rely solely on technology, had saved 2 civilizations. As the Terran response fleet prepared to return home, High Commander Zivax presented Captain Chen with a crystal that pulsed with inner light, the highest honor in Araxian culture. "You have taught us an important lesson," Zivax said. "Advanced technology without physical resilience creates vulnerability. The Galactic Council has approved a new exchange program. We wish to learn your combat techniques, your physical training, and in return, we offer our advanced sciences." Chen accepted the crystal with a smile. "That sounds like the beginning of a beautiful friendship, Commander." The Invictus turned toward Earth, its mission complete. Behind them, ancient enemies began the difficult work of becoming allies, and throughout the galaxy, word spread of the Deathworlders who fought with their hands yet brought peace with their hearts. Human adaptability, once their survival mechanism on a harsh planet, had become their greatest gift to the stars.